So, all right, let's get started. Let me turn off the camera. All right. So I'm assuming everybody can see my screen and it should say Clearfly Cloud PBX Build Your Expertise. Can somebody confirm that for me?
Yes.
See it.
Okay, perfect. All right, so the agenda on this call is we're going to do a very, very quick product overview. It's just going to be a very quick recap from yesterday, telling you about the Clearfly Cloud PBX, its capabilities, the license functions, and license options, I should say. And then we'll go over the available documentation, how you can find documentation as you move through the certification process and into quoting and selling. Then we're going to get into the Clearfly portal integration. And just so you see how tightly integrated that platform and this solution is to the Clearfly portal. Ken Mix did an amazing job with integrating that to make it simple and familiar with what you already are doing in the portal and tied those things together. We'll talk about that. We'll then jump into a sandbox demo. Part of this product is you will end up having to create the order. I understand a lot of you are the techs. Some of you may be the product or project manager as well. You will need to create the Yeastar instance. So we'll walk through that process. It'll be very quick. And then we'll get into actually logging into my lab test account, and we'll just kind of go screen by screen. I'll show you what's available. We won't do a real deep dive into the technical side. This is just an overview webinar just to give you some familiarity with the product and really kind of set you up for success for the certification process. And then we'll cover at the very end what the certification process looks like. And that'll be it. So I am going to shoot to keep everybody on schedule, and we will be done, you know, as close to 11 o'clock Mountain Time as possible. So, but again, feel free to ask questions as we move along. All right, so the Clearfly Cloud PBX is really it's a Yeastar P series Cloud PBX. We are set up in all explanations. We're really a distributor of that product. We control that product completely on our side. We purchase a license. If anybody has dealt with Yeastar in the past, you know that they have an annual license subscription. And so we get the license from our side, and you guys have access to those. We do not require a contract term of a year. As you know, Clearfly is built on being flexible and empowering you as our partners to sell the product however you need to sell it in order to be successful. So we're going to call it just for simplicity and not such a tongue twister, the Yeastar product is an all-encompassing UCaaS solution. It offers voice, video, live chat, messaging, both internal chat messaging as well as SMS integration directly to the Linkus applications or clients. It has multiple apps, so it could be a web app, it could be a desktop app and a mobile app. They all function the same. Also provides a lot of different options from an auto provisioning standpoint for a variety of different phones. We'll talk about that when we get into that section of the technical piece. And there's a lot of built-in integrations. So CRM integrations are already built in. There's help desk integrations. There's ability to custom build integrations. And again, we're going to talk about that. The one thing I did not mention that is at the very top of that little diagram is their AI capabilities. I will tell you, it's really quite amazing. They have an AI receptionist. They have AI transcription. When you go through the certification process, you will end up building an AI receptionist, because I do believe that it is hands down one of the best I've seen. And I strongly recommend that you take a look at it and play with it, and utilize it on your future customer installs. As I mentioned, we've done a lot of work with an API integration, with integrating that product within the Clearfly portal. And I think that you will be very pleased with that, and it'll provide you with, the same reliability and functions that you're accustomed to within the Clearfly portal. Just a couple things on that before we get into the demo portion of this presentation. The Clearfly Cloud PBX has two extension types. They're Enterprise and Ultimate. Just so everybody is very clear on this fact, that you cannot mix and match those extension types. So if a customer needs to have, video capability, maybe they're using a video door phone, they're going to need to be, all the extensions are going to need to be Ultimate. So that instance is going to be Ultimate. The biggest difference between Enterprise and Ultimate really is the video capability and the remote archiving. And so what I mean by remote archiving is, if you're call recording, if you're doing transcriptions, any of that, and you need to keep it beyond a certain period of time. I mean, there are some businesses, lawyers, for example, they've got some regulations that they have to keep those transcriptions and recordings for an extended period of time. Then you're going to need to go with the Ultimate route and set up some type of remote archiving. We're not offering the storage at Clearfly, but there are many options that you have available to you, and there's some fantastic documentation on how to set that up. One other quick note, everybody asks about this very bottom one, Linkus Client SDK. That's a developer's kit. So if you're looking to integrate the Linkus app or clients into some other application that customer is using, whether it's a CRM or a help desk or any variety of other things, and you want to develop that integration, you will end up needing the Ultimate license as well. Okay. There is a link on this, and everybody will have access to this webinar, not just in the video format, but if somebody wants it, reach out to your sales person here at Clearfly, and they can send you this presentation. But what we have found with Yeastar is they are constantly developing this product. And could we publish that link and make it a PDF? Sure. But what we're finding out is their documentation and their upgrade process and their enhancement are increasing at such a fast rate that by the time we actually make that a PDF document and send it out, it will become obsolete. So we are going to constantly reference from a technical standpoint. We're going to reference back to Yeastar's documentation. We would not be able to keep up at their development pace, which is awesome, right? I mean, we've sent multiple requests into them about features enhancements, and they're already on the docket to do. So, that was one of the biggest reasons that we established this relationship with Yeastar. Is much like us, our growth and our development is dependent on our partners providing us feedback. And when you speak, we listen. Our success is tied 100% to yours. And we're finding the same type of responsiveness with Yeastar. So it's been an amazing relationship so far, and we fully expect it to continue. Also, one other note: when you look at the Clearfly portal, if you're doing quoting or you're creating the orders, there will be an option under each enterprise and ultimate for a standard and a basic seat. Functionally, there's no difference. They were created just to provide you with some flexibility from a pricing standpoint when you're selling the solution. You know, example would be a hotel motel. We understand that, you know, for you to be competitive, you may not be able to charge the same price for the hotel phones as the front desk. So again, there's a standard and a basic option. Functionally, they're exactly the same. It's just purely there for a pricing flexibility. Other additional resource license that you will need to pay attention to, especially from a technical side, the AI receptionist, the AI transcription, and the recording minutes all have included minutes in the instance itself. These are system-wide minutes, not per user minute. With the AI receptionist, there's 60 minutes included. AI transcription, 120 if you're on an enterprise instance, or 240 if you're on an ultimate, and recording minutes, there's 500 minutes. There are some notifications that I will show you when we get into the demo portion that you need to set up, and you need to set up an email address, you know, maybe it's support at wherever, and you know, you'll get notification when those minutes are getting close to being all used. And at that point, you can go in and you can make a decision: do you need to increase the minutes or not? And I'll show you how you increase the minutes when we get into the demo portion. One other quick note on the AI receptionist and AI transcription minutes. Those are monthly minutes, and it's a use or lose. So if you added another 100 minutes on the AI receptionist and at the end of the month they only use 90 of them, that customer is going to lose those 10 minutes. Next month, we'll add in the additional 100 minutes again, and they can, at that point, they have 160 minutes. Any questions so far? All right, you guys are much quieter than the sales crew from yesterday. As far as documentation goes, truly believe that knowledge is power. We are feverishly adding documentation to our KB articles and our FAQs, which is awesome. But we've also added something else that you may or may not know exists. We have the Clearfly Assistant up here in the top of the portal. You may have seen it, didn't know what it was. But if you click on that, you can actually type in whatever you're looking for, and we will pull the answers based on the KB articles and the FAQs. Might be looking at the community post as well. Not quite 100% sure on that one, but we are pulling that information, and that way you don't have to scroll through all the KB articles. We're up to 200 plus at the moment. There are a few KB articles already in place. KB 189 gives you a breakdown of the differences of the enterprise versus ultimate extension, which we just kind of talked about briefly. There's KB 198 that shows or provides links to the Yeastar P-Series Cloud Edition documentation that you will need to get certified, plus you'll need to reference as you're setting up the systems. There's a KB article on how to create the orders and also how to set up emergency number programming or notification, which will be important, particularly if you are selling the solution into a hotel, motel, or a large building scenario. The most helpful website that all of you have access, it's completely public, that I would strongly recommend that you bookmark, is help.yeastar.com. You can type in any question during your setup, and if you run into a problem, and it will provide you with step-by-step instructions as well as links to particular documentation. So again, their documentation changes on a fairly regular basis. So please make sure that that you bookmark help.yeastar.com, and that will be a tremendous resource to you as you move along. All right, so just as quickly on the portal integration. When you get certified on the Yeastar product or the Clearfly Cloud PBX, the inside sales department will go into your portal access, and they will go under, there's going to be a compatibilities tab under the third party view, and they will set you up for Yeastar standalone. And at that point, when you have that enabled, what I would recommend is that you go into the quick links, which is off to the left-hand side, top left of the Clearfly portal. Click on the ellipses and add the Yeastar dashboard to that. As you end up adding customers, you know, the Yeastar product for customers, if you click on that dashboard, it will list out all the instances, customers, the summary account, and it'll make it really, really simple for you to find those and access those instead of having to figure out, okay, what's their SBN number and so forth. So again, just, you know, a recommendation is once you're set up as being certified on the Yeastar product, go into the quick links, ellipses, and add the Yeastar dashboard to that quick links. We've also integrated the ordering process. So if it is a brand new customer, or even if it's an existing customer and you want to set up a new voice group for that conversion, when you actually create the Yeastar order, it will also build the voice group automatically. So that again is going to save you some steps, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit. You'll also have the ability within the portal itself to upgrade the license, the resource minutes, and the extension count. So again, we're going to show that in just a moment. Any questions, concerns as of yet? No.
Tom, I got a question. Raising and lowering the extension count, is that very similar to CCSs in a contract? So if I contract a company, a customer for 5 CCSs, they need to expand during a busy season. We bring them up to 8. And then after busy season, we bring them down, but they're contracted for those 5 sessions. Is this the same with an extension instance? If we've contracted them for 5, enterprise extensions, and then they need to add some people for, Christmas season, we add 5 more users, and then when it's over, it comes back down to 5. Is that kind of how that works, or how?
So
Explain.
it is set up exactly the same. You're going to be in the portal. You can go in and click on the extension count and increase it. I need to verify with Ken and Cody if you can move it back down. It may require us to move it down, but I will verify that, Carrie, and let you know. But increasing is the exact same way. If it's seasonal, yeah, you just go in there and increase the extension count. So, and I believe Mr. Mix is on this call, so hold on. All right, so no restrictions for increasing or decreasing. It's always helpful when Ken's on my calls.
Okay, but no restrictions if I've contracted them for 5 enterprise extensions.
Yep.
And they say, hey, we don't need that many.
Well,
No.
I mean, that's gonna be like that's gonna be the contracted rate, number of extensions. Are you talking about moving from 5 down to 3?
Just down to 3. If they say we only need 3 people now, and we've contracted them on a 36-month contract for 5 extensions, it's just like we do now with CCSs. We contract them for 5 CCS, and they come back and say, well, we only need 3. Like, well, you're contracted for 5. Anyway, just
Yeah. So, I mean, just exactly the same with this concurrent call sessions, right? I mean, we really empower you guys as our partners to make that call. We provide you with the flexibility. If you contract a customer and for whatever reason they end up, downsizing, you guys, that's your call, and we will support you. So I don't see it being any different. Okay.
And if you get into this, great, just say so. Will the end user customer, I'm assuming we're going to have, they'll have access to this. They have access to their portal, just like CCSs. My customers can go in during busy season and say, I need to increase my CCSs by themselves, and then they can bring it back down to what they were contracted for. Will
Correct.
a customer be able to go in and add their own extensions? If they have 5 and they say we want to add 3 more, they can go in and do that by themselves. And then it will, just like with CCSs, it will automatically add the charge.
That is correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Thank you.
So, just one footnote. We do have a minimum of extensions per instance, and that is 2. So, they would carry, in your scenario, if there was 5 and, it was off season, they or you could scroll it back to 2, but you can't go to 1. Okay. I just want to make sure everybody's clear on that. All right. Great questions, and I do appreciate that feedback.
One more quick question. I was wondering, is there a maximum of users, or will you get into that?
So yeah, we can actually cover that right now. So when you build an order, the maximum number of extensions that you can add in the initial order is 100. Now, if the customer needs 200, once you add that 100, then you can go into that instance and you can increase it, right? But we put that as a safety just in case somebody typos, and they meant to be 100 and they put 1,000. We've got to purchase those licenses. And so that's just a precautionary piece. You can definitely have, 1,000 users or license if you like. But when you do the initial order, it is going to be maximum on that initial order is 100. And then you can go into the portal and you can increase that. So does that answer the question?
Yeah.
No
Thank
maximum.
you.
Yep. All right. So moving on, I think we're at the demo portion. So again, real quick, I'm just going to go through the ordering process just so again, again, so you know that you're going to have to set up the Yeastar order. Our orders department cannot do that. Nobody at Clearfly can do that. You're going to have to do it. So we're going to cover that very quickly here. So this is just our sandbox. Again, this is a sandbox. So, some numbers and stuff may not be realistic, but we're going to go through this. So we have a quote that was won. Tom's test. So the quote was won. Automatically, we created a project, and we're going to do 2 of these real quick. One is going to be from a new customer's perspective, and the other one is going to be from an existing customer's perspective. But if you come into the project, once you identified yourself as the implementation manager, you're going to submit that. you're going to select whether you're going to create the orders or if Clearfly is. If you want Clearfly to create the orders, as far as port orders, new number orders, go ahead and select Clearfly. Just add a note on there that you're going to create the Yeastar instance. If you don't add a note and they say that they see that it's a Yeastar instance, they're going to ask you to create that order. So I'll create Yeastar. But just to save that little step, you can go ahead and just throw a comment in there, click submit. At this point, you're going to come into the project. You've got the orders panel here. You're going to click actions, order Yeastar Cloud PBX. You've got two options. One is integrated and one is standalone. So integrated is if you're doing integrated, it is going to create the voice group automatically. Standalone, it will only create the Yeastar instance. Why would you do that? If you have an existing customer that already has a voice group that you want to just swing over, that would be one option. The other option is maybe you have a customer that is currently under contract with another carrier. They cannot utilize Clearfly SIP trunks at this moment because of that contract term. Or maybe you're in an area where we cannot provide service to a particular rate center. So you're going to have to utilize somebody else's trunking. We will allow that. All right. So that would be when you would choose standalone. For this real quick, we're going to choose integrated. At this point, it's going to ask you what the extension plan is. My recommendation, if you're building the order, I would probably look at the quote just so you make sure that it matches. I would pull up the quote. I'd come over. This is an enterprise offering, so I would choose enterprise. You will then choose your region. There are two regions. The Yeastar instances are housed in a AWS data center, one in Virginia, one in California. You're going to pick whichever one's most, or closest to you. We're going to pick West. Standard extension count. The quote had 10, so we're going to put 10 in there. Basic extension count was 2. Now it's going to ask you for the voice group config. So there's 5 trunks and no additional 911s. And we go through that. You can set the default calling name now or later. And at this point, it's going to create that order. And as a review, the instance has been created. If you click submit, it will give you a warning that if you click submit, that install needs to happen within 14 days because we're automatically going to start the billing. All right. If that install is not going to happen in 14 days, don't click submit. You'll still have access to the voice group because it will have been created, as well as the Yeastar instance. All right. You can always come back into the customer's account, and under the provisioning tab, you can always come to that order and start it or submit it when you're ready to start the billing. So if you submit it, it'll give you the 14-day warning. You can complete it and it will start the billing right away. Okay. Any questions?
Yep. Yeah, on this sandbox, if you're not doing it in sandbox, you're doing it for real. If
Yep.
you hit submit, does billing begin at that moment?
No, if you hit submit, billing will start in 14 days. You'll have to complete the order to start the billing immediately.
Okay, and if we start it in that 14-day period, just go in and there will be a place to click start billing for this service?
Yeah, I believe the button will state commit or submit or complete. Sorry, getting all tongue-tied, Mark.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Now, if you had an existing customer, and we'll just do that one quick. So we'll go to Duo in the sandbox, existing customer. Maybe you're not going to generate a quote for that from a sales guy's perspective. I'd love you to generate a quote, but if you don't, and you just need to convert them, maybe they're on an existing system that, is failed, or, you want to switch them. You can come into the provisioning tab. And then come right down to the order section, create new order. You're going to select type, going to come down to Yeastar Cloud PBX. Next, you're going to select what ban. If it's a single site, there's only going to be one ban. If there's multiple sites, you can select which one you want it tied to. Click next, and again, you're back at, do you want to do it integrated or do you want to do it standalone? I'm going to make a recommendation. You don't have to follow it. This is, like everything else at Clearfly, you guys have the control to do however you want. I would always pick integrated, mainly because even if it's an existing customer that has a voice group, until that system is switched over, I would prefer to have a different voice group, and you can just move those numbers from one VG to another VG on the day of the cutover. That way, there's no interruptions. You can do a full test of the solution before the cutover date. But again, like I said, it's your choice. My recommendation is always do it integrated, create a new voice group, and then just move those numbers over. Plus, if anything were to happen and that cutover didn't happen, or you switched it and there was a problem, you could always switch it back because the existing voice group is still in play. So, any questions on the ordering process? I'm sorry, Kerry.
Situation. Am I cutting out? I'm sorry.
You were.
Okay.
You're good now.
In the situation, let's say I've got a hospital with 250 extensions, and they've got an implementation time of 60 days.
Yep.
That they want to test and do all that kind of stuff. Is there any provision for that before billing starts? Because they won't go live. I'm thinking they have another PBX, and we're going to switch them over to cloud, and that implementation time is going to take longer than 14 days. Or do I simply put on my sales hat and say this is how it works?
You can still do some testing before you actually submit it. It's going to be limited as far as calls. But I would probably say you need to put on your sales hat.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Let's see. There are a couple questions that came in. Just let me grab those real quick. What does the first month's bill look like? Yeah, it's going to look very similar. There's going to be 1 month and prorated. Yeah, it's going to look very similar to the existing if you were to spin somebody up in the middle of a month with the trunking. Second question, if we were in a situation where the customer who had previously accepted a quote decides to back out and of said agreement, what does the cancellation process look like? Our standard cancellation process looks like they're going to pay out that contract. So if it was 3 years and they're 1 year in, they're going to pay out the remaining 2 years. Now, just like I had mentioned on multiple times earlier, we are here to support you, and we are here to support your success in your marketplace. If you feel that, that customer is going to be influential in your marketplace and you want them out, then you need to have that conversation with Clearfly's amazing sales team. They'll work with you on that. But you know, if you want us to enforce it, we're going to enforce it. That is our default. So hope that answers that question, Tom. Larry had a question. Can you have enterprise and ultimate seats on the same PBX? That answer is no. They have to be one or the other. All right, continuing on, great questions. I appreciate them. Let's go back to presentation. Let's jump into my lab instance. So at this point, we're in the voice group. Probably looks very, very familiar to what you've seen before with a couple exceptions. Up on the right-hand side, you'll see that it's a remote platform, Yeastar integrated. It'll give you the Yeastar instance number there. Everything else looks the same. All right, lists out the telephone numbers. You still got access to the real-time switch info. You still have your concurrent calls. You're not going to see the usage button. That's an internal option. But it shows you your concurrent calls, your ceiling, and your floor. If we click on the Yeastar instance, you'll need to have some patience. We are at that point with an API integration going to the Yeastar instance. You'll see that the tab is actually working. Once it connects, this is going to be all new to you. So it's showing the region that that instance is tied to. It's going to show the plan. If you need to change that from an enterprise to an ultimate, at the moment, that is an admin function, and Clearfly can make that change for you. Otherwise, you know, it's going to list out what plan you currently have. It shows the extensions. So there are 10 standard extensions on my lab account. If I need to increase it, anything with an underscore, you can increase yourself. You just simply click on that and you can add or, you know, add or subtract the extension counts. Again, there's no difference functionally from a standard versus a basic. Recording minutes, same thing. That is done in increments of 100 minutes. And you can increase that capacity. We will probably sometime next month, not probably, sometime next month, you'll be able to come in and there will be an underscore underneath the AI transcription capacity and AI receptionist capacity, and you'll be able to increase those just like you can on the extensions and the recording. All right. Down here, the FQDN will be important. You should probably make note of that. If somebody is trying to utilize an Linkus mobile app, if they're having some difficulties with QR code, it will ask them for a serial number or site ID. They're going to enter the FQDN in there. Their username is going to be their extension and whatever their password is set up as. So that is the FQDN. It'll also be useful during SMS integrations and setting up the destination. So once we're here, if you want to log into the PBX, oh, great question, Jacob. He asked, can we change the region once it's set? At the moment, there is no way for us to do that. We will reach out to Yeastar to see if that is possible. We've had that discussion internally. I guess I don't really understand why somebody would move from the east to the west unless the company actually moved. But short answer to your question is at the moment that answer is no. All right, so let's log into the Yeastar PBX. Click the PBX login. We're now at this point logged into the Yeastar PBX. Through the portal, it is currently set up as a passwordless login. We are tossing around the idea of making that optional. If you want to be able to log in with the username and password, that would probably, you know, from a log standpoint, that would be a bit more useful. But right now we're all about simplicity and making life easy for you. So right now it's passwordless login. One note on that is, since we're using passwordless login, only one person can be logged into that PBX at a time. So now there's other ways around that. If you are set up as a user on that PBX and you're utilizing the web Linkus app, there is an option for you to log in that way as well. And depending on what you set the permission levels at, will dictate what they have access to. So on this screen here, on this screen here, you can see again, it's enterprise, gives you some feedback as far as how many transcription minutes have been used, AI receptionist minutes, and recording. Also will tell you if there's any blocked IPs. That actually came up yesterday on a call with the support department. Somebody was having difficulty getting their phone registered. There were some issues with that phone at first. The Yeastar platform is very, very secure, and it saw multiple attempts coming in from an IP address that were not jiving and weren't working, and it literally blocked that IP address. So even after the issues were resolved on the registration or the provisioning side, that IP had been blocked, so that phone was not coming up. So that one will be important to pay attention to. I mentioned early on that there was an event notification. They have some defaults set here as far as different types of notifications you can be set up and notified on. I would strongly recommend that you come into notification contacts, you enter your email address there, you pick which types of notifications you want, alert, warning, and also decide what you want those to be. So an administrative login success, currently set up as a warning. If you want to change that, you can change that. So make sure that you do that, set your notifications on there. Scrolling down again, it shows you registered extensions. You can have up to 5 physical phones registered to a single extension. I think the default is set at 1, but again, you have a lot of control on this. This product is very, very granular, and you have the ability to control permission levels. Us old phone guys will know it as class of service. You can really set that pretty tight, or provide a lot of flexibility. You can change the registrations of IP devices per extension, Linkus counts per extension, and so forth. Shows you any type of events. So this is just graphical. Feel free to just jump in there and look at that with your test account. We'll just go through these real quick. Again, we're not going to do a super deep dive on the programming side. This is just an overview. The menu options are on the left-hand side. You're going to come in, you're going to build out the extensions here. Very simple. If you're going to add an extension, simply come up, click add. You set the username. If you want to set a password, you can do that. Most of the default settings are pretty self-explanatory. This is where you're setting how many concurrent registrations for IP phones, Linkus desktop, web, and mobile clients. For the Linkus part, up to 3 per user. You can also control the outbound caller ID on a per user basis if you choose. There's presence settings, so if the person is available, you or them, they'll have access to this if you give them that permission. They can set if they're in a available state, what happens if there's no answer and busy on internal calls versus external, versus they can change that if they're away or in do not disturb. So quite a bit of flexibility there. Voicemail, same scenario. But this is where you're setting up the individual users. So I don't have a phone associated with this particular user at the moment. If we look at Kip Rivers, I believe I got a phone there. It's a Grand Stream, GRP 2613, that was set. Function buttons, these are just, you know, your DSS buttons on the phone and the function keys on the Linkus app. Extension groups, don't confuse this with ring groups or call queues. Extension groups are really set up to make things easy for you. If you have a group of phones that need to function a similar way, I would put them into a group. And again, I'm just going to fly through this pretty quick. The trunking, if it's integrated, or if you have integrated an existing voice group to a Yeastar instance, that will automatically come up. We have that integration already done. You will come into the voice group and you have access to the phone numbers. If you want to put a name with a DID number just for your own reference, you can do that here. And yeah, so again, we're just flying through this piece. These are the class of services, the roles Yeastar calls it. So you can come into any of these preset roles, or you can add a new role and you can delete some of these. You can come into the role itself, and this is what I mean by granularity. You can come in and choose what they can control, what they have access to. And again, it's you know, if you leave it as default, they've got full access to that PBX. So just be aware of that. Contacts. This is just company contacts. We're not really going to go into that piece. The auto provisioning. Jose, you asked if I can go over how to add a desk phone. So this is it. You come into the auto provisioning section. You're going to come to phones, and you're simply going to add a phone. You're going to type in the model, and again, there is a lot of options here. There's also documentation showing which model phones, so you don't have to go through this. You can actually look at the Yeastar documentation, but we'll just throw in Yealink. And again, you're just going to scroll through the list of the phones. We're going to say a T54W. Just while we're on that, the T54S, as I think most of you know, has reached end of life. The W is still a good active phone and a very, very popular. You're going to enter the MAC address. After you enter the MAC address, it's going to set up a template. It's going to recommend the template, and it's going to provide you with the provisioning link. So at that point, you're going to assign an extension number, and you're going to save it. If that phone has been reset and factory default, or if it's new, once you plug that phone in, it should go out from an auto provisioning standpoint and connect to the Yeastar instance and come up. If it had been previously used elsewhere, you may need to make sure that that phone isn't trying to reach out to the previously assigned instance of whatever type. Okay. Just one real quick note on this. I know there are a lot of partners that are doing WildX. And yes, as you can see on this pull down list, WildX phones are listed there, and it is showing model numbers. We've had some partners in beta testing actually go through that and utilize those phones. Those phones, I'm going to tell you, they are not going to function as well as a generic version. I mean, there's some hard-coded things on that phone that even after a factory reset and set up provisioning-wise to the Yeastar system, that they're still going to function a bit funky. So good example is the D&D button on those phones. That throws off a ring group. We had a customer with a WildDix phone. Instead of using the presence button on the phone or the Linksys app, they were hitting the D&D button on the WildDix phone, and it actually put the entire ring group into do not disturb, not just that individual phone. So if you're using WildDix phones, I mean, it'd be no different than if you were using a proprietary, NEC phone that was built for that platform. Just run your test and make sure that, that is going to meet that customer's needs. So just a word of caution on that. Let's see, call control, inbound and outbound routes are set up. Again, my recommendation for you is leave the default just as a catch-all in case, during programming, you get distracted and you forgot to add a DID someplace. Leave the default route and have it go to, a voicemail box or an auto attendant, or in this case, the AI receptionist, and build additional inbound and outbound routes. So if we come into that, again, Clearfly trunk will automatically be there unless you're adding a new route. You've got your DID pattern, so very straightforward. You're going to set business hours. Call Flow Designer is only available on the Ultimate plan, and that just literally allows you to build the routes with, a flow chart type of thing. Us old telephony guys, may find that to be a bit slower than just going in and doing it, but it's available if you want to do it. Again, you have to have the Ultimate extension plan. Call features. This is where you're going to see all your feature codes, your voicemail setups, your voicemail settings, and so forth. Again, I'm not going to go through all of these. The IVR is the auto attendant for some of us. We call it an auto attendant. This is where you're building that. There is no limit to how many IVRs you can have on a system. So if, each department needs one, or, you feel free to add those. There's no additional cost. Ring groups and call queues, a little bit different. Ring groups, an agent cannot log in and out. You will have some statistical information, but it will not be as in-depth as a call queue. A call queue is really a call center application. So you can have people waiting in queue. They can ask for a call back. The agents will get notified via, a message that somebody needs to be called back. So that's your full ACD package in the call queue. Speed dials. There are no system speed dials. These are our station speed dials. You're going to set those up and you're going to assign them to an extension. This is your recording. So again, there's a lot, right? The AI piece, I do want to talk about that because I really do believe that the AI receptionist is amazing. You're going to come into the AI receptionist. You're going to add, I've created one for my test account. It's called Waterworks AI Receptionist. If we click into that, you can type just, basic information into the company info, and you can also address, business hours, the whole bit. You can upload documents to that. The more information you feed the AI receptionist, the more access it will have to it. If you were to call the AI receptionist number and ask it to tell you about Waterworks, it's going to literally run through whatever you put in the company core services. So very, very cool. I strongly recommend that you set it up on your test account and give it a whirl. It's quite amazing. The AI toolbox is where you can enable transcriptions, text to speech. If you, instead of recording a voicemail greeting or a prompt for the IVR or anything else, if you have text to speech, you can just go ahead and type it. Again, there's no limitation other than minutes on this. That's where you're setting the voice transcription. And I know I'm almost out of time. So there is a hotel motel package. Dave at BTS actually cut over a customer this morning on the hotel motel package. Seems to have went quite smoothly, according to him, prior to this meeting. But that's the quick rundown. I am going to finish actually just quick the certification process. Two options for you. From a certification standpoint, if you are already certified with Yeastar, just send us a copy of your technical certification. Sales certification is not going to work. Technical certification, you have it, send it to the sales team. We will go in and we will mark you off as certified on the Yeastar product, and you can begin quoting. I do strongly recommend that you still ask for a Clearfly test instance so you can become familiar with that integration that we talked about earlier. If you don't have a Yeastar certification process, we do have a certification process here at Clearfly. You're going to request a test account. You're going to review the documentation, and you're going to set up the test configuration. Waterworks is the test configuration that we have, and it will really walk you through probably 90% of any customer requirements that you're going to have moving forward. Once you're familiar with that, and our support department will help you become familiar with that solution, you're going to request a certification test. You're going to need to score an 80% or better. I will tell you, I wrote that test not to fail you. All right, I wrote that test to help you learn and become self-sufficient. All the answers will be in the test scenario and or the documentation links. If you're struggling with something, please just reach out to us. This is about learning and helping you be successful, not causing you headaches and not being able to move forward. And then once that's done, you're all set. So let me look at questions because they've been coming in feverishly. While I'm reading, if anybody has questions, please, unmute yourself and ask away, and I'll answer those directly.
You showed where the blocked IPs were. Is there a place to whitelist IP addresses?
Yeah, that's a great one. Let me move this dashboard out. I mean, again, I'm trying to be super respectful of your time, but if you want to stick around and keep asking questions, let's do it. I'm here. I'm all yours. So let's go into the security, and you would come to security settings. Security rules. So this is where you can whitelist IPs, and this is where the blocked IPs will show up. So you're going to do that here. The security settings, you can allow country IPs if you have, some concern about, other countries hitting your PBX and causing some havoc. You can come in here and you can, by default, they're all disabled, but you can allow different access. Same with toll restriction. We'll call it toll restriction. I know I'm dating myself, but you can control international calling on the Clearfly side, as everybody is well aware. But you also have quite a bit of flexibility to allow certain country calling within the PBX itself. Did that answer your question?
Yes. Also, is there an IP address scope for the east and the west that we can put in whitelist into our firewalls?
There is. I will have to find that for you. I don't know it off the top of my head, but yes. Oh, just real quick, I did not cover this, and I need to. Under the maintenance tab, in troubleshooting section, you can run an Ethernet capture. So if you want to run a PCAP on the PBX side, you can do it right here. It'll be incredibly useful from a troubleshooting standpoint, because if you're running something on our side, on the Yeastar side, and you let our support know, we can run it on the trunking side as well. If you're utilizing a different carrier, you know, this is going to be your baby. We're not going to have access to what that carrier is seeing, but we can see, you know, everything from here. All right. All right, let me go through these. Just give me one second here. Yeah, so Jacob had asked, are the alerts set per PBX? And can they be default, and can you default it with all clients? It is set per PBX. I don't believe you can default it with each client. You could, in theory, take a instance and back it up. You know, maybe it's your default setting every time you do a Yeastar instance. You may have the numbering plan set a certain way, and you just want to duplicate that. You can build it and you can back it up, and then you can restore it into a new instance. Now, keep in mind that will wipe out the trunking, so you're going to have to go back in and add the trunking details there. But I guess that may be a workaround, but you know, there is no default on the alerts. Let's see, we did the adding a desk phone. Is there text to voice for auto attendant recording? Yes, that was already answered. And I'm guessing, John, you picked that up. Could you give me a thumbs up on that question? Comment about the Wild Dicks phones, kind of confirming what I'd already mentioned. Will we be offering phones? That answer is no. You can source those through whomever you want. We are currently working on adding a VoIP distributor to the marketplace, so they should be in the marketplace at some point in time. I know Rob Lewis has been working quite hard on that. Does the system have timetables for day and night? They've got a day and night mode. We could probably dive into that a bit more than offline, so I can understand that question. Oh, as far as the certification through Clearfly, there's no cost associated with that. We're here to help you learn and be successful. So if you're running through the technical certification through Clearfly, there's nothing. I don't know if you decided to run it through Yeastar. Just keep in mind that the interfaces are going to be a bit different. So if you're not currently certified with Yeastar, I would recommend running that certification through Clearfly. All right, so Nicole had asked about the troubleshooting and the trace file logs. I think we covered that, Nicole. There's a, John, I can shoot you the link on the NEC phones and which phones are set up. Any IP phone that is not set up as an auto provision option, you can manually program to this. So if you're using like a Grandstream HT801 ATA, you're going to set that up manually. It's not set up as auto provision. And you just can't adjust the holiday schedule. Let's see. Yeah, there's a lot. Upgrade wise, if we look at this instance, if there's a new upgrade that's available, it's going to show up as new up at the top, and you can click into that. It'll give you some information as to what that it consists of, and you can update it, set it up to automatically update, or you can manually update it. Is there a status page for the servers, for instances and the like? I'm not aware of that. I guess we can ask Yeastar if there is, but as of right now, I'm not aware. So, okay. What else you guys got? Anything?
You lock down the upgrades to general release only, or are you allowing betas? I know on the actual Yeastar platform, it allows you go in and set it, and you say, I want to see upgrades for, like it says right here on the screen you're showing, check for updates, and it says what version. It says all versions. I just wonder if you guys have locked it down to general access or general availability, the GAs, because that can get kind of tricky sometimes if you say I want all versions and it says, oh, your newest version is available, and we don't realize that it's a beta.
Yeah, so I will tell you that I have seen that when there is versions available, that it actually does let you know if it's a beta or not. But and Ken can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't believe that we have locked that, versions down to only, general release. So, actually, Ken has just sent me a message that you can also set your alerts to only notify you on general releases. So there you go, Ken. Carrie. What other questions?
I just wonder if you guys locked it, because it would be easy to fat finger it. So
yeah, now there's no, and he has confirmed that there is no way for us to lock that down. That he has seen through our API integration.
Just wondered if maybe in the API you did it. So okay, that answers it. Thank you.
Other questions, anyone? I know I've really overstepped my time frame with you folks, but there's been some amazing questions, and I appreciate it.
Can I suggest at a later time doing a more deep dive technical training? Okay,
absolutely, 100%. And I'm going to get the support team to actually do that for us. So there we go. Best way to learn a product is to teach it, right? All right. If that is it, I greatly appreciate you guys all sticking around, and all of us here at Clearfly are super excited about the product. If you have questions, please reach out to the sales team, reach out to the support team. I'm also always available. So if you want to contact me, my name is Tom Hall. Most of you have my number. If not, just call into the sales queue and ask for me, and they'll get you over to me. So again, thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful rest of the week, and
Thanks, Tom.
have questions, just let me know. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Tom.